Calaroga Shark Media. Hello and welcome to Romance Weekly. This episode is titled A Second Chance for Christmas.
In the enchanting town of Evergreen, nestled deep in the snowy embrace of the mountains, there was an undeniable magic that filled the air during the Christmas season. Evergreen was renowned for its picturesque landscapes, quaint cottages illuminated by twinkling lights, and a palpable sense of togetherness that seemed to grow stronger with each passing year. Grace Anderson, a talented artist with a heart brimming with warmth and kindness, had returned to Evergreen after a lengthy absence. She had decided to spend Christmas this year with her family and rediscover the place she had once called home. As Grace settled into her family's cozy cottage, memories of her childhood friend Daniel Matthews flooded her mind. He had been her confidant, her partner in exploration, and her first love. They had been inseparable until life took them on separate journeys, and they lost touch. Daniel Matthews, a rugged outdoorsman with a heart as vast as the mountain vistas he traversed, had remained in Evergreen. He owned and managed his own Christmas tree farm and had become a beloved figure in the community. Daniel often found himself reminiscing about the days when he and Grace had embarked on adventures together, their laughter echoing through the snow-covered hills. One crisp December morning, Grace was exploring the town square. The town square of Evergreen was a sight to behold during the Christmas season. Tall lampposts wrapped in garlands and red ribbons stood at each corner, casting a warm, inviting glow. In the center of the square, a towering Christmas tree, adorned with sparkling ornaments and delicate fairy lights, stretched toward the starry night sky. A fresh blanket of snow covered the cobblestone pathways, creating a pristine winter wonderland atmosphere. Children and adults alike gathered around, sipping hot cocoa and sharing laughter, while the harmonious melodies of carolers filled the air, making the town square a place of pure Christmas enchantment. Then, she happened upon a familiar face. It was Daniel, his warm smile as captivating as ever. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the world seemed to stand still. The passage of years melted away, and the profound connection they had once shared rekindled instantly. Over cups of steaming hot cocoa by the crackling fireplace, Daniel and Grace began catching up on the lost years. They shared stories of their individual journeys, their dreams, and the obstacles they had encountered along the way. It became increasingly evident that their bond was as strong as it had ever been, and something deeper than friendship was beginning to blossom. As Christmas Eve drew nearer, the town of Evergreen buzzed with festive excitement. Streets were adorned with holiday splendor, carolers serenaded residents, and the anticipation of the annual Christmas Eve gala reached a fever pitch. Daniel, renowned for his skill in crafting exquisite wreaths and garlands, extended an invitation to Grace to help him prepare for the event. Grace eagerly agreed, and together, they embarked on a creative journey to transform Daniel's humble barn into a magical winter wonderland. They spent days meticulously crafting decorations, arranging twinkling lights, and adorning fragrant pine trees with glistening ornaments. With each passing moment, their connection deepened, and it was as if the spirit of Christmas itself enveloped them. During breaks from their decorating endeavors, Grace and Daniel found themselves taking long walks through the snow-covered woods, just as they had in their youth. As the pristine white snowflakes fell gently around them, their laughter echoed through the forest, and their hearts grew lighter. But for all the warmth and closeness they shared, Grace couldn't help but wonder if Daniel's feelings for her had remained as they once were. One evening, as they sat together by the fireplace sipping hot cocoa, Grace decided to broach the subject. "Daniel," she began tentatively, "I've treasured our time together these past few days, but I can't help but wonder, do you ever think about the way things used to be between us?" Daniel looked at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of longing and regret. "Grace," he sighed, "I've thought about those days every single day since you left. You were my closest friend, and more than that." Grace's heart skipped a beat, but she couldn't bring herself to say the words she longed to hear. She feared that her own feelings might be one-sided, and the thought of jeopardizing their rekindled friendship was daunting. Daniel continued, "But I also understand that life took us on different paths. You had your dreams to chase, and I had responsibilities here in Evergreen. I didn't want to hold you back." Grace looked into Daniel's eyes, her uncertainty clear. "And what about now?" she asked softly. Daniel reached out and gently cupped her cheek. "Now, Grace," he whispered, "I don't want to let you go again. I can't imagine my life without you in it." Her heart soared at his words, and for a moment, their faces drew closer. Their lips almost met, but then they both pulled back, as if afraid to take that final step. The night before the Christmas Eve gala arrived, as they stood amidst the enchanting beauty they had created, Grace's uncertainty still lingered. She feared that maybe Daniel's feelings were just a reflection of their shared memories and not something deeper. Inside the gala venue, Daniel felt the same uncertainty gnawing at him. He watched the entrance, hoping to catch a glimpse of Grace, but she was nowhere to be found. He realized that he couldn't let the night pass without knowing for sure if she felt the same way. The hours passed, and just when it seemed like the snowstorm would never end, a break in the weather appeared. Grace and Daniel, each determined to reach the other, set out into the winter night. Through the thick blanket of snow, they walked, hearts pounding with anticipation and uncertainty. They met in the middle of a snow-covered bridge, their breath visible in the crisp air. With snowflakes falling around them, Daniel took Grace's hand and looked into her eyes. "Grace," he began, his voice trembling with emotion, "I've loved you for as long as I can remember. You've always been the missing piece in my life." Tears welled up in Grace's eyes as she replied, "Daniel, I love you too. I've never stopped." In that magical moment, surrounded by the beauty of the snow-covered town, they shared a kiss that felt like the culmination of a lifetime of longing. It was a kiss that sealed their love, a love that had endured separation and uncertainty. The snow continued to fall around them, but they were oblivious to the cold. Hand in hand, they walked back to the gala, where they shared their newfound love with the town of Evergreen. The night was filled with laughter, dancing, and the joyous celebration of two hearts reunited by the magic of Christmas. As the clock struck midnight, the townspeople gathered in the town square, and fireworks illuminated the night sky. Evergreen had witnessed a love story that transcended time, and it was a story that would be told for generations to come. In the end, love had conquered all, just as it always did in Evergreen during the most magical time of the year. Daniel and Grace, their hearts forever entwined, knew that they had found their second chance for Christmas, a chance to love and be loved, surrounded by the enchantment of the holiday season.
Romance Weekly is a Calaroga Shark Media production. Written and hosted by AI McIntyre, produced by Mark Francis. Executive producers Mark Francis and John McDermott.
Calaroga Shark Media.